The man accused of setting fire to Parliament, Zandile Mafe, has appeared in court today for a bail application, which was in the last half hour reserved. A judgment on that bail application now reserved until the 4th of February. That's next Friday. Let's take you live to our reporter Nasipi Same, who listened to the proceedings from about noon today. Nasipi only wrapping up a short time ago. Let's begin with why the state had argued that he should not be granted bail.
Well, Tembekile, a lot of twists and turns to this bail application. As you rightfully mentioned, Zandile Mafe stands accused of torching Parliament. And basically the state saying that they will be denying that bail application brought forward by Mafe's legal team based on the fact that he is not only a danger to society or the public at large, but to himself. The NPA's Eric Ntabazalila going as far as saying that he is also a danger to himself. The particular gentleman torched, or rather set Parliament alight while he was still inside. So on that basis, they are saying that he should not be released on bail. However, what we also know is that a particular CCTV footage where the legal team of Mr. Mafe is saying that they've been ambushed once again by the state, saying that at the 11th hour they are being told by a CCTV footage where we've now been told that, or rather we were told by the magistrate that we cannot speak much on it or the contents that were presented in court. And magistrate there, Michelle Adams, refusing the state to submit that CCTV footage, and basically also adding, or rather the defense saying that they do, or rather they're looking this with an eye of caution, in the sense that this particular, or not CCTV footage, but alleged confession was taken on the 3rd of January 2022, where Mr. Mafe on that particular day was taken for that psychiatric evaluation, where it came that, or rather he was deemed as somebody, or rather diagnosed as somebody who had paranoid schizophrenia, saying how can it be then that they are going to be wanting to use this particular, or rather so-called confession in court, whereas on that particular day he had already been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia.
That point then, representing Zandile Mafe, I beg your pardon, is Advocate Dalimpofu, who said that he's not mentally ill, has no history of mental illness, and all he has been dealing with from childhood is a stutter.
Indeed true. I mean, this bail application was an opportunity for the public who have been highly invested in this particular case following Parliament being gutted by that fire on the 2nd of January. You know, it was an opportunity for the public to know this man who stands accused of allegedly torching Parliament, and this was an opportunity for him to state his side and also, you know, take us through his version of events on what exactly happened that day, also highlighting that he does not have, or rather he is of sound mind, and the only challenge he has was the stuttering, also going as far as saying that he has, or rather following a grade 12 where he grew up in Mahikeng, he did move to Pretoria, Johannesburg, including Pietermaritzburg and PE in the Eastern Cape before coming to the Western Cape, seeking for greener pastures. And we do know that he arrived in the Western Cape in 2014, and having arrived in the Western Cape, he had a job at a bakery up until the 18th of February, or rather the 14th of February 2018, and from there onwards he then struggled to get permanent employment and was a casual, rather had casual jobs. And I think something very important to note, Tembekile, that also came out of court was the affidavit by the investigating officer, Colonel Taron, who had an opportunity to speak to Mafe following him being detained for that fire in Parliament, saying that when he was showed, or this is Mafe, when he was showed video footage of Parliament up in flames, we were told in court that he beat his chest and said, Zandile Mafe, basically saying that that is his work. And he also had about 3 conditions had 3 conditions, and that was for the President Cyril Ramaphosa, to resign on the 8th of January. And if we all know the January 8th statement, so he was calling on the President to resign on the 8th of January. Also calling on for government to have a 1.5 unemployment grant, including the release of Yalus, or rather the man that is currently behind bars for the murder or the killing of Krisal.
That's Janus Valush. And Nasipi, another name that we didn't think we'd hear today is that of Eugene Tereblanche, a man that many South Africans who are familiar with this country's racist past would be a known right-winger. And Mafe, we're hearing today, claims to have been friends with Tereblanche.
Indeed true. However, he never really went into the details of this particular friendship that he spoke of. However, he did say that he was friends with Eugene Tereblanche, however, not going into detail on the nature of the friendship or how they knew each other. But it seems like Mafe is very particular on his dates. He remembers the death of his friend Eugene Tereblanche, including the specific dates. You know, the calling on for President Ramaphosa to resign on the 8th of January, the release of Yalus, rather, my apologies, I am going to butcher his name, but the man responsible for the murder of Krisani on the 11th of February, as we do know that the former and late President Nelson Mandela was released also on the 11th of February. So very particular with his dates, also going as far as saying that Nelson Mandela was rather freed after 27 years, and it took him 27 days. Mafe saying that it took him 27 days to finally get his bail application, or rather to be heard for his bail application. So we have heard from the defense, obviously very happy with the fact that he has, you know, gotten his opportunity to have his bail application, as it has been, or rather we do understand that it will, or rather judgment will then be heard on the 4th of February at this particular court, at the Cape Town Regional Court at 11 a.m., where we will be hearing the outcomes in that regard. However, now what we do know is that Mafe remains in custody up until then.
Nasipi Sami, our reporter on the streets of Cape Town. On the breaking news tonight, judgment reserved in the bail application of Zandile Mafe, the man accused of starting that fire that gutted Parliament at the beginning of January.